a stay-at-home dad, watching Disney movies he never had. His daughter digs through all the VHS, crushing the classics in a princess dress. Informed like Scuttle, Kurt's got your ticket, making it real like Jiminy Cricket. Most are off the Captain Hook, but if the Tweedledum, he'll be taking more shots than Bambi's mom. Leaves him raised like Simba, or cracked like the beast dishes. He'll show you a whole new world, you won't need 3 wishes. Stay at home, Disney Dad.
Oh my God. Goldrush, a Disney movie starring Bruce Campbell, the guy from one of my favorite movies of all time that I watched over and over as a teenager, and Alyssa Milano, the girl from one of my favorite movies of all time that I watched over and over as a teenager. This is another weird one from the wonderful world of Disney. We press play. Alyssa Milano is dressed in old-timey garb, rolling an old-timey typewriter down an old-timey hall. She begins typing, and all these other uppity ladies judge her in this crazy new piece of technology. They, oh, it's all too complicated for me, this typewriter. Regardless, they say, welcome to wherever. And this one old biddy goes, the men are very excited today. And she's like, excited? Why? I would assume, but no. Apparently, people have struck gold in Nome, Alaska. Like, there's literally gold nuggets they're picking up off the beach. And Alyssa goes, I could go there. And her uppity mom goes, no, you couldn't live the mining life. It's the worst. Also, you're a woman. Yeah, that's what she says. But as mother plays the piano, our sweet Alyssa picks up the ukulele and shreds the out of it. Just, this is Frances Fizzy Fits, and she ain't going to be held down by no gender restraints. The next day she buys a ticket to Nome, Alaska. Well, she tries, but it's $400. She doesn't have $400. Plus the guy refuses to sell her a ticket, says, I would never sell a one-way ticket to Frozen Hell. And you should go to talk to that handsome guy over there. He's putting together a team, and you'll be safe with him. It's Bruce Campbell. He sees her, and he hangs up the phone. So she signs a contract, and he covers everything, okay? They're going to split the profit of all the gold they find. Half goes to the company, and then he and her split the remaining half. That's what the contract says that she wants to sign. She goes, I have something worth more than money. And Bruce looks her up and down. But no, it's her fancy typewriter. She's like, I can type out all of your letters and contracts. I'll do that for you and your company. And he's like, do you have your mother's blessing to go with me? She goes, with your help, I will. And goes, can I bring my dog? She pops back home, and Mom says, you're absolutely not going. If only you had other interests. And right on cue, ding dong, a gentleman caller was at the door. I guess it was a knock. It wasn't a ding dong. And it's Bruce, or Peter Thomas Madison, as he brings her mom flowers. They invite him in for sweets. Seeing Bruce Campbell play an old-timey high roller is something, okay? Bruce sets her up and is like, Alaska's no place for a beautiful young woman like this. I agree. And Mom goes, if it's so profitable up there, why are you going back if you've already been there? He goes, hey, I'm already rich, but that place is my destiny. I can't get a read on this conversation because suddenly Bruce Campbell's all standoffish and like, well, I got to go meet with my financial backers. And he leaves, and the mom, who's hot and cold, says, no, you're not going, after he leaves anyway. Alyssa is obsessed with some sort of machine in where she works. It keeps making this rhythmic knocking sound. They keep showing her staring at it. I feel like I should know what it is, but I don't. To be fair, it's very grainy VHS. Alyssa gets home from work, and Mama's like, you're home from work early? And she goes, yes, I am, and I'm also going to Alaska. Now Mama's like, well, there's never, ever been any stopping you, Fitzy, when you put your mind to something, and it's Wednesday, and everyone is getting on the boat, and she's there getting on the boat, and she brought her dog. Bruce booked one cabin for everyone, his whole team. Just one cabin, 2 rows of bunk beds on both sides, and she's in there with all these men, just stuffed in this tiny room. Terrifying. We meet all these dreamers, all these men that come from different states and walks of life, and they all have the same dream. They're all old, except one. There's one young, hot one. He's an athlete, and this guy's like, is that your girlfriend? And Bruce says no. And this guy, he's clearly going to end up with Alyssa Milano at the end of the movie because he's so mean to her. There's no way a woman can hold a man's spot, and they want to vote her out. But then her dog comes running in, and someone has rubbed turpentine on the dog, and she storms out and starts smelling everyone's hands until she finds someone's hands who smell like turpentine, and she knows he's the one that covered her dog in turpentine, and she stomps him on his foot, punches him in the face, and the men hoot and holler, and it's unanimous. She's one of the boys. She can stay. How come none of these B-plot characters ever get revenge, right? Like, this guy is just humiliated by this woman. He sulks off. We're never going to see this guy again, are we? We go in and out of commercial break, and they boat to the shore and immediately find gold. Some grizzly guy comes up and goes, "You can't be here." And Campbell says, "It's a public land." And he shows him his gun, and Bruce says, "Okay, we'll go down the beach a bit. It's dark at night, and never mind. The guy she punched jumps her and chloroforms her, and they stick a knife to her head. But Bruce Campbell and the boys save her. And then that young athlete that she's still completely going to end up with at the end of the movie goes, "See, I knew she would be trouble." Bruce wants to put her in the office more to do more of the paperwork and get more supplies as they just walk over a dead body. And he's like, up here, if you make a mistake, you freeze to death in a day. If you make an enemy, you die in a second. Words to live by. Now she realizes that actually they have to set up camp and live through the winter before they can even start like mining in the spring. Didn't really sign on for that. She applies for a job as a stenographer during the winter, and the boss is like, "Girl, we already have one." So she's walking out, and suddenly the guy throws his current stenographer into the mud and calls him stupid, then turns and asks, "Do you still want the job? You can have it." And she says she does want it, and then he gives an offer, and she rejects it. And then she gives him her demands, and he takes it. And I mean, I get what they're doing here, but I don't think a woman standing up for herself in this day and age, in this environment, would get away with all this. Just saying. I mean, again, good for you, Disney, but Wyatt Earp looks at her and goes, "The only way you'd make better money in Nome, other than that contract you just negotiated, would be to strip." Okay. And I disagree, because this movie went straight to VHS. She now overhears a secret meeting where she realizes her boss and all the top officials and businessmen in Nome are crooks. She steals some papers to show Bruce how the scam they're running. They rob poor people who can't prove they own anything up here. So, quote, "The law swoops in and takes all their land away because they don't actually have any papers." There's some sort of cowboy Nome, Alaska court, and all the men are like, "You guys are stealing our claims." And Fizzy, who is typing, betrays her boss. She pulls out the Calypso file and is like, "Here you go, man. Here's proof. All the proof the working men need that the businessmen are screwing you all." And now she bails, and Bruce is like, "You just made enemies of 3 of the biggest men in Nome." And she goes, "Yeah, I want to go back to New York where it's not crooked." And they're like, "Well, we got to get out of here, but it's because it's not safe, but we don't have enough money to send you back to New York. So we got to pack up and we got to start trucking through the forest on foot in the snow." In and out of commercial. It's now miserable and snowy as they have to pull their own sled like a sled dogs through the Alaskan blizzard. I missed the exchange, but we get this wonderful soundbite.
"Ladies have needs. Ladies have needs. Ladies have needs."
She can't take the hike and decides to turn back around and go back to Nome, but like, what is she doing? If she goes back, she's gonna die. I mean, I know this movie is supposed to be all for like empowering women, and I'm all for that, but it's just funny how this makes her look, because she turns back and she turns around, starts going back to Nome, and we have this like passage of time montage of the men going forward and her going backwards, and after what seems like half an hour, a day or so, they're like, "Hey, wait, have you seen Fizzy lately?" And they turn around, "Fizzy! Fizzy!" And they can see her like 30 feet away laying in the snow. That's how far she got. They shake her awake and they give her the Braveheart speech, and she carries on. She almost died, but they get her to shelter and they give her some alcohol, and now it's a party. I also hate to be that guy, but so far she hasn't been pulling her weight and has been causing them trouble, but whatever. Not the point of this story. They want to take a shortcut through Native American territory. We turn into Titanic. "The shortcut will be safe," says Bruce. She's worried because they're running out of food. Bruce Campbell has no idea where they are, but they continue on. This is a weird role for Bruce Campbell, because Bruce Campbell can only play Ash, but this isn't Ash. Like, it's Ash, but Ash is hiking through Alaska, dreaming of gold. You know what I mean? It's one character. It doesn't matter. Now she loses her mind. She starts making snow angels and starts a snowball fight to distract everyone about how they're going to die in the next couple days. If it's not one thing, it's another, as this doofus with a mustache tries to chop down a tree and starts an avalanche. And I don't know why, but this made me laugh, and I'm a bad person. could watch that over and over. It's good stuff. Just seems funny. He's buried, and she tries to dig him out, and she can't, and the dog runs back to Cap. Arf, 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 and Bruce does the actual, "What's the matter, boy? They're in trouble," and they all go running, but it's too late. Mustache is nothing but a hand sticking up from the snow. In and out of commercial break, they made a tombstone for him. I guess no one in the campsite 20 feet away heard the avalanche. Maybe they're silent. They keep going, and Bruce tells her, "Don't worry, we won't eat your dog." What? No one said anything about eating her dog. I kind of think they're going to eat the dog now. The men finally have had enough, and then some just like actual bad acting, just terrible acting. "If we fight each other, we're dead. Maybe we are already dead." And just as the boys are about to kill each other, Alyssa screams, "We're here!" And they find the cabin on the other side of the hill. There's a bunch of other surly men already there. There's one cabin. She's like, "One cabin for 12 men who don't leave to relieve themselves." Then she kicks everyone out because she wants to have a bath. And the acting across the board is just awful here. So there she is, naked in the hot tub, soaping herself up, while all these freezing cold men who haven't seen a woman in years just sit outside, waiting for her, thinking about her in the bath. And Okay, Disney. He's arrested for leading a woman to her death, but while he's being arrested, the sheriff is like, "I also need someone who can type," and Fizzy pops out and is like, "Are you offering me a job?" And now she pulls Bruce aside and says, "All you do is lie, and you destroyed our trust." Also, someone mailed her a trunk of her stuff, so she's got her typewriter. She's going to take that job at council so she can make money and give it to Bruce for his men. She goes, "I don't want them to starve. I'll pay you guys what I can. I'm still under contract, but after that contract ends, I'm out." Sadness in and out of commercial break. She's happily working away, and one day, one of Bruce's men stops by and offers her a jacket. He wanted poker, and she kisses him on the cheek. He offers her some cash, and she says, "Thank you, but I can't go home to New York yet." At work, she gets a telegram about a piece of beach everyone missed that has a ton of gold, and she's like, "Is it unethical to intercept this information?" And she's like, "Well, I mean, who's the boss?" Because she was on. Who's the boss? And also this movie. She takes the map and the blueprint with her, and she takes that old guy with her. She stakes her land, and she and the old dude start mining. Her buddy looks like Captain Highliner, which is super fun. He's talking about gold in a way where I can't tell if he's actually talking about gold or if it's like euphemisms because he wants to bang her. They immediately find gold, but the real gold was the time spent together. No, the real gold was real gold, and they're finding lots of it. Time change. They're at some like hall dance. The men from Bruce's posse show up looking for and they are like, "I hear you're celebrating a huge gold win." Uh-oh, they're going to screw her over. They're pretending they left Bruce. Maybe some of them did. Now Bruce comes and dances with her. He has a proposition. He wants to build a telephone line. That's what she was looking at before, was like a telephone, the tick, 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 and that little bubble thing. He met a man who's going to string up telephone lines so they can just call Nome, Alaska for the low, low price of all the money she made with her gold. She goes, "If it succeeds, what do I get?" He says, "Half, once it's all up and running." Someone is going to double-cross someone, and I hope the swerve is that she double-crosses him. That would be fun. The men fight over Fizzy, and the music even stops. And that's when you know it's serious, right? This other guy wants to take her to New York and asks her to marry him. He came to Alaska to, quote, "find treasure." And he found it. Damn, son, that's a line. She says no. Humiliated, he sulks off, and then he takes his sick mustache with him. He's out. And then she turns and makes a business deal with Bruce after all. Damn, girl. The guy that didn't want her all those years ago, that young guy, shows up. He was sent by Bruce or Madison to ask for more money. He goes, "If we don't finish, you lose every cent, and there's a deadline." She says, "You must get some pleasure out of this." He goes, "Nah, lady, just want to get paid." So now she's riding to find Madison to ask him why he needs more money. She calls him on it. She goes, "Why don't you just use those trees that are already up? Green spruce can hold lines temporarily." And now she's there. She's one of the boys, cutting the wood, getting her hands dirty, putting up poles. They do it. They tell Fizzy to make the very first call. And the boys are like, "You're going to call your boyfriend Gnome? Is that who you're going to call?" She goes, "I don't have a boyfriend." She's about to sell her half and get out of this deal with Bruce and make profit. But there was a clause in the contract, and the supplier gets to buy it first and does so. So Bruce is like, sorry. He pays her back what she put in, but all that work and risk for no profit. Bruce is like, hey, ignore all that. You know what I want? I want to be your partner. And she's like, you've broken a dozen promises and dreams, and it's too late. She walks out, leaving him standing there like, She takes out a $30,000 loan, and we go in and out of commercial. She bought the newest and best technology. She's got an idea. She just needs men. She needs manpower. All of Bruce's men are going to go work for her except that handsome, young, mean one that never liked her from the beginning. The one she's about to end up with. She's building some sort of mining machine, and she hires that mean guy finally. She's like, I know you hate me, and we ain't ever going to end up together, but I've seen you work, and you're a good worker. So she hires him. Also, every girl loves the bad boy, even 1899 Alyssa Milano. They get it all up and running. It's one of those wheels. Is that what those wheels are for? For gold? I have no idea. I've seen those my entire life. Are they for gold? I thought it was to make water energy. Suddenly the wheel breaks and the mean guy's like, I could fix it. And Fizzy bites her bottom lip, this guy. He does many other manly things and he gets the wheel going and her knickers drop right there. She tries to pay back the loan, but she's super short with the bank. They didn't make enough money. The bank guy gives her one more week for another 10 grand loan. She tells them we have to run this thing 24 hours a day. Can it go faster? Can we make it? That mean guy's like, we can make it. A montage of gold machining 24 hours a day. He's making it go faster and faster. She puts her hand on his shoulder. Honestly, these movies are so bad for relationships, real relationships. Very rarely do you eventually fall in love with someone you initially hated. Sure, it can happen, but not at the volume Hollywood would like you to believe. The machine is overheating, but they continue on because they're running out of time. It's going to blow. Here comes the collector. They start weighing it, and did they make it? So they have the scale, and they balance it. She goes, I weigh 105 pounds, and these sacks of flour weigh 20 pounds each, so the gold should be 125 pounds, so it should weigh out even. So she's standing there with her flour. What a way of doing this. They put the gold on the other side, and it doesn't lift her. But then there's a Hail Mary. She's apologizing for everyone, and I'm sorry, oh wait, the dog was hiding under her dress, and as soon as the dog hops off, whoop, it's even. The gold weighs more than she is, and she jumps into the arms of that man she used to hate, but now loves. Bruce rides in suddenly. He's like, I came when I heard the news. He's like, oil is the future. With your funds, we can develop them. And it fades to black. So I guess this continues forever. Was this based off a true story? Kind of feel like it may have been. Wikipedia says, no, it wasn't. All right, that was, that had its moments. Alyssa Milano, man.
That's what I think about.
What do you think?
What we have is a concern about Curtis Anderson. His interviewing style is not the best. His personal appearance is not the best. I was wondering if the man has some kind of a hold over the channel that he's allowed to be employed for so long with the standards of journalism and personal appearance that he has. Thank you.
Okay, Macy.
Bruh!